the Chiefs went and got the cornerback. So the Chiefs signed a 26-year-old Kristian Fulton to a 2-year, $20 million contract that includes $15 million in guarantees. Fulton was a second-round pick in 2020 out of LSU. Fulton had been plagued by injuries in his first few seasons with the Titans, missing around 23 games. But then in 2024, during the first 5 weeks of the season, Fulton was one of the best cornerbacks in the league. The stat here, he allowed the 11th lowest passer rating when targeted as the nearest defender. However, after that, he missed 2 games with a hamstring injury and played sparingly in multiple games while managing through the hamstring injury. According to Next Gen Stats, from week 6 until the end of the season, Fulton allowed the 8th highest passer rating in the NFL as the nearest defender and tied for the 5th most touchdowns allowed. So, that's what I always say about like guys who play through injuries. Like fans will crap on guys for missing games. But when the guy does play, teams, fans use that stuff against the guy. So, clearly the guy was dealing with a hamstring injury and he played second half of the season injured, right? So give him credit for doing that, but at the same time, he's giving up these numbers they can, that PFF and Next Gen Stats can go to talk about it. But nonetheless, JD, seems like we got ourselves a nice DB to pair next to Trent McDuffie. Obviously, the Chiefs like him, giving him $2 years, $20 million, and 15 guarantees. They're obviously big fans of that. But I've seen some speculation, right? Like Fulton's an outside guy, and McDuffie was played best when he was in the slot 2 years ago when we had Snead. Like, I think he was like first team All-Pro. And a lot of, some experts are saying that maybe this will allow McDuffie to go back in the slot or at least give us a little bit of versatility in the DB room. So what do you make of the signing? And what do you make of that, the kind of maybe moving McDuffie back into the slot?
I mean, I like the signing. The guy's got a ton of experience. And yeah, we've heard about his injury history, and of course, if you look at some of his games, you could tell he's played by the hamstring somewhat, and they were actually rotating him in and out. I actually looked at the game. I watched him against the Chargers against Atlanta last year, and he kind of came in and out. But I could tell, man, as far as like the quickness is coming out his breaks and stuff like that, like breaking on the ball wasn't quite there. And you could see him kind of favoring his legs somewhat. But look, he's a second-round pick for a reason. Very talented coming to LSU. I think he does a great job as far as being aggressive. He's an aggressive corner. That's one thing about it. And so I'm reading all the comments. I started doing a little, homework on him a little. And I'm just like, okay. So everybody on the comments was like, man, he either, is too aggressive, get a penalty on him, or, he's getting burnt like toast. And so, like you said, a lot of it is context. It really is. And so if he's toughing it out, trying to go out there and try to go play, obviously he's trying to show his value to the team and his toughness. I had to commend him for that. I do. So if he's getting himself well, I think he'll do a great job for us. And what you need consistency. We didn't really have that last year. We had so much rotation through the guys with, Najee, Joshua Williams, Watson came back. The only one that was the consistent one was Trent McDuffie. And what they needed to do is kind of hamstrung us a little bit. I'm not making a pun because the hamstring is messing him.
That's good.
But really, it forced us to have like Jamari Connors play in the slot against a slot guy. Jamari Connors, they said was probably the most thrown to guy in the league at the slot. I think he had like completion like 43 out of 50 something passes. Like that's crazy. That's a crazy stat. But what do teams do? They just exploit what they see as a weakness. And anytime you have a corner or a slot going against a safety kind of hybrid guy, then why not take advantage of it? Why not take advantage of it? The tape's in there. Yeah. So, we just got to understand that now what we've done is we have been able to try to at least unlock where maybe Trent McDuffie has the ability to come back inside and come cover. So I don't think I'll say this. I don't think that we're done by no means get another corner here. I think we probably get drafted corner, Marcus. And I'll say probably relatively high. If you see this, I say round 4. We will probably be that. He'll probably be that pick right there or this one. trying to get a guy that might come in and try to compete too, for that position. Because the thing is, man, it's 2 year, we said 20 million. So it's not the price point in it. It's not, you ain't tearing yourself apart on your pockets. But he's a guy that deserves probably this type of money because he's going to be a solid guy. He comes up, plays hard in the run game, but you like it because he is aggressive. Obviously he'll have to run a lot more man, and that's going to be a big difference. So can he, get in out the break, get hands on guys and moving his body at the same time, as opposed to reaching out and grabbing guys? We'll just have to see. But I think this is a great signing for us.
Well, I like it because it's like last year, we going into the season, we were like, well, who's going to be our DB2, right? Who's going to take over that spot? Well, with Snead being gone, and we didn't know who was going to be. Then Watson was a breath of fresh air. He was awesome, and then he gets hurt, and then there was like, okay, who's going to take that spot? We were waiting for Joshua Williams to be that guy. Never really happened. Never really took the job. Nazi had some flashes, but never really took the gig. And then we bring in Steven Nelson. He never sees the field, so we never actually saw what he had to bring over to us. And obviously wasn't much since he never actually got any burn. But now you take away to have him there, right? And let's say you want to move McDuffie into the slot, he can do that now. But now it kind of gives us some breathing room where if one cornerback does go down, you still have McDuffie and Watson, or McDuffie, Fulton, or Fulton and Watson. It gives us that breathing room. And obviously, I think we're not done. I think we're going to draft a cornerback, like you said. But as far as the top guys, at least it gives a little buffer if one of the cornerbacks does go down. You have, the combination of Fulton, McDuffie, Fulton, Watson. And Watson, I know he's got one more year left in his deal, but he played really well last year before that injury. So now you have two solid cornerbacks with McDuffie. I mean, what's not to love about them? I love just having that, also that emergency aspect of it, to have another guy you can count on.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing, man, is the consistency part of it. You got to have, reliable guys that's going to be there at their position. I'm still not out on Joshua Williams. I think he'll still be able to figure it out. I think he'll still be able to come in and compete to show what the reason why we drafted him the way that we did. He's got a lot of ability to himself. Maybe this year is where we'll be able to see it, okay? Getting a little bit more competition. And so I think sometimes when you have guys that kind of in the room, everybody's kind of on the same page with each other. Well, sometimes guys got to set themselves apart. Like, hey, man, look, I got to be the guy. And I think what you do is you bring Kristian in, and he's gonna bring some competition. That's what you need to do. That competition is good, especially in that position, man. Nobody is sitting back here sitting solid. Don't get comfortable. Guy just came in and he's getting paid money. And so what we're going to do is he's getting paid money. We're going to play him until you forces that he's not. That's the way it works in the NFL. So it's a performance-based business. And so like the same thing, man, if he has a long history of injuries in his hamstring, who's going to be the next guy up if he goes down, or do you beat him out in camp? So this is good. It's good for the entire room. I think it's good, for the entire defense, to be honest with you. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think Josh Williams has still got a lot of potential. I mean, his whole 2 years ago, Josh Williams was fantastic, and then last year was kind of a lost year for him. I don't really know what happened from 2 years ago to last year. So I do think there's still potential with him. I'm not writing him off just yet, but I do think this signing also, the kind of what you just mentioned there, it does push the other guys in the room too. Like, look, you should have been the number 2 last year or the number 3, and you couldn't do that. You couldn't see consistency on the field. Now I brought in this guy, so Fulton's not going to push you to try to maximize your effort. Then maybe you aren't the guy we thought you were 2 years ago. So it does kind of push everyone in the cornerback room.
Yeah, and I think really, man, for Joshua Williams, and I've said this, sometimes it takes other guys time to develop. You got to kind of give them that time to figure it out. And so at a certain point on the player, he has to say, who do I want to be? Do I just want to be a guy, or do I want to be a starter? And who I want to be a star? What is my position in here? Do I want to be regulated to just going down on, as a gunner, on punt, on kickoffs and stuff. No. Like, you want to make sure you have a staple coming in and playing. That's what you want to be able to do. Because another thing is marketing, it's just not about now. Here, you got to think about your future too. And I'll just talk about sometimes as guys come into the NFL, you got to realize that, you're not necessarily a need if you're not, setting yourself apart from everybody else. And so teams get rid of you. If you're not showing up and you just say, hey, man, guess what? They'll let you go. They don't mind giving you walking papers. And so I hope, man, Fayetteville figures it out, baby. I think he can. The thing is, I keep going back to when I see the joke on the sideline, how big he is and how long I'm like, oh, this is a big joke out here. Like, he should be dominating. He should be dominating. So whatever it is for him to figure this thing out, to give competition, so be it, right? But that's the reason we went out here and we got, Kristian Fulton. That's the reason we came and do that. So, and Kristian Fulton, I think, what's the name was saying this in here too, Drew Boucher, we were giving enough time to fully recover instead of running out into competition too early and threatening another injury. 100% performance. So if it's what you're talking with Fulton, absolutely. So Fulton have that time to get himself healed. Same thing with, with Watson too. So Jaden Watson, he wasn't the same guy when he got back. He came back kind of early, but you see he didn't really have that he didn't have that speed, that snap, that quickness coming out of the break in the hips and stuff. Look, there's certain positions when you deal with quickness in your legs, DBs, you need those. Those are bread and butters, man. You got to have that more than anything else. The bread and butter is your legs. You got to take care of it. So a guy that's coming in with a lot of hamstring history injuries, you got to realize those things are happening. Jaden Watson, too, is something to step up in. But this just it gives us a whole lot of amount of depth there, Marcus. This is what I love about it.
Yeah, the breathing room is something that, it helps because last year, we were scrambling. I remember everyone's talking about go get Marshawn Lattimore. It's like, okay, we're going to trade a second-round pick from him. And then the Commanders had their own issues with him. He barely played when they got him. So they traded a high pick to get him, and then they saw like 2 games of his. And he just didn't look like the same guy as he used to be. So luckily we didn't have to do that. But seeing comments here, Greg Rose asked, what's Fulton's size? He's about 5'11" and 196 is what he was listed at. But it's always funny when you look at his LSU card, his profile is like 6 foot, like 205, but like that when he went to the NFL, it was like an inch shorter and then like 10 pounds less.
Listen, college, look, they play games with you. And so when you do in college, they try to make you look bigger than what you really are. And so everybody knows when you get into the locker room, they usually have a nice little your what is
Scale?
that? No. Like your team, the whole
the team the directory, the team directory.
Yeah, the directory and all of that, right? They have, that when you come in. And so everybody start looking in and checking to see how big guys are. See everybody like it looking up, trying to look bigger, their neck, sitting out. So we see 6 foot 205, a little different for a corner. That's a big joker right there. 5'11", 196. You're like, oh man, shoot, hey, that's dope. Especially for a corner, it's a little bit different. 205, 196. That's a big difference at corner, man. Big difference in it. But
what my college coach said, add like 15 pounds to your weight. That's what we want you to be by the end of the season. When we get back to the next season, we want you to be at that weight. So you're it's something to look to. It's like, okay, I don't want to gain 15 pounds, but all right.
Well, like Optimistic James said, especially if they're not being pushed, and that's the thing about it, man. When guys get comfortable, and you do kind of sit out there, you're not being pushed. Guys don't feel like they need to step up. Guys don't feel like they need to extend higher than anybody else. Sometimes, I won't take a position. We'll go ahead and rotate. Oh, man, sometimes you just got to be a dog and say, man, that's my position. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Nobody else going to take it? Hey, coach, I got it. And don't let it go, because that's where money's involved. You see all these signings and everybody getting paid all this money? They going to pay jokers that they know are dogs, true dogs out there. So, and Mike Brennan says the same. Nothing says got to step your game up like your team signing and draft players at your position. That's a fact. And I always talk about this, Marcus. I said, every time when you would see it on Mondays or you see new guy come in, you always look and see, what does he look like? What's his body type? Because you know immediately if you on the top of block or not. So if you ain't in the weight room, you better get in it. That sucker's sitting, walking around and he's 6'5", 265. I'm like, okay, that's a tight end, okay, or defensive end. What does he look like? Is he running routes? Is he catching footballs? Okay, all right. Get yourself together. Get it together, baby. It's the real deal now. Okay,
coming from me.
Yeah. Good to
did
see
have
Brian Merchant here, Hearts and Roses, just saying what's up to people here that just stepped in. How y'all doing?
There was a question here from Amda Brown. Obviously, we're talking about Fulton, but kind of stick with the secondary.
Yeah.
Justin Reed obviously will not be coming back. He got paid and went to New Orleans, joins up Tyrann Mathieu. Ironically, Justin Reed was our Tyrann Mathieu replacement. Now he's joining Tyrann Mathieu in New Orleans, and the Chiefs Southeast is becoming more and more of a Chiefs. Like the guys go there, they leave Kansas City, they go to New Orleans, and there's a lot of those guys down there now. But JD, we talked about the safety room. We have expended a good amount of draft assets for the safety room. You have Brian Cook, you have Chamari Connor, you have Jaden Hicks. What do you see? Who's going to be replacing that Justin Reed void? Or we talk about cornerback in the draft. Does this make you think they go safety higher than what maybe you thought? Now that we know Justin Reed's not coming back.
Well, first off, let me just say, man, congratulations to Justin Reed going down and getting the contract with New Orleans. My brother. Appreciate everything you did when you was here with the Chiefs. Okay, you were a consummate pro. Everything you did, man, was very professional. How you spoke, how you carried yourself. You emulate what guys want to be as far as an NFL football player. And I thank you for everything that you did here. You was a hell of a player, man. I mean, coming out there, man, you would take people's faces off. And so for all the things that you did out there in the field, your effort, I'm talking about, man, just wearing your heart on your sleeve, your passion, everything that you showed, going out there, knocking balls down, covering guys, everything, man. I just want to let you know, man, I really enjoyed your game. And I will enjoy it immensely when you're down there in New Orleans too. But I just want to tell you, man, hats off to you, Justin. Godspeed to you, my brother. God bless you for coming out here, man. We appreciate everything that you were. No doubt a leader. And the reality is, Marcus, we kind of talked about this, when it was hard to sign Bolton and Reed. I knew when Bolton got their money, I'm like, whoo, where they're going to leave with Reed? How's the market going to look for him? And I think they would just kind of watch how free agency was going to happen. And when he seen it, he got to take it right now. So I'm sure they was talking behind the scenes as far as like what they probably was offering him. To him, he's like, hey, man, you know what? I gotta move. I gotta move where I need to move. And so, is he from down that way too? Right?
I believe so. I've seen people saying he's going home, so I think he might be from that way. Oh, yeah, that's right. He made a comment about eating certain foods when he went back for the Super Bowl.
Okay. So, man, hey, New Orleans people, man, just let you know, man, welcome home, brother. But appreciate you, 20. Appreciate you, my brother. You're a real one. Definitely a real one. Now, answering your question, I think Hicks was able to step up. He showed a lot about what it is that he can do. He's a heat-seeking missile. For him, it was really him figuring all the dynamics out where guys need to be. What Justin Reed was very good at is being the brain and putting everybody in position to make everybody right. And so coming down in the paint, playing hard, playing a run, playing a pass, all those different things, Hicks is going to have to figure out. And the thing is, he can't take chances. He's got to be able to scope and read everything. And so part of that is just for young players, just patience. It really is. But I think Hicks is going to be that guy for us. We know we got Chamari out there too. We got a deep safety room. Can we get another safety? Sure. I don't think we're not above that, getting another guy in here. But I do believe, like I said over here, corner's the way to go if you do anything. Because you know what they always say, Marcus? If you're a corner and you can't cover, you become a safety. That's what they say. So,
and along that line, and I'm not saying this guy cannot cover. Najee Johnson was a safety coming out of college.
Was his position? Yeah.
They moved him to corner because they thought he could do it. But now maybe they say, oh, you know what? We can move Najee back there. He can get some reps back there now. So, like, he's a natural safety. Maybe they move him back there and see what he can do from that standpoint, which, honestly, I'd love to see him back there because, I mean, that was his position.
Absolutely. And he's physical. He's a physical guy. So we know he can cover. So if you asking it, maybe where he's just covering a tight end, shoot, he might be better suited for him. So that could be a good move, keeping a Najee Johnson here to play that position. I do believe that whatsoever. So, but yeah, I think if you're dealing with that, I think we're probably good at that position safety wise. Those guys can rotate. I think all those guys are pretty interchangeable, really, with Spags and his defense. As long as everybody's on the same page, nobody where you need to be, because it's really passing it on to the next guy saying, hey, you got to make sure everybody gets all the coverage. You got to put everybody in position and make sure that they're right. Everybody's got to understand that. And that's what Justin Reed was. He was the commander. Right there, they're secondary. So, who's going to replace him for that?
Yeah, and I will say that they've done a good job drafting at that position. I mean, Cook, he's been solid. And then Chamari Connor, I know they had to play slot, but like he's kind of a do-it-all kind of guy, but safety is his natural position. Najee could play some meaningful safety snaps. And obviously Jaden Hicks came on the scene last year and looked phenomenal. So like I think that, I mean, everyone's going to get to know number 21 real well this coming season if you didn't get to know him last year. But I think Jaden Hicks could have a really big season because he showed, I mean, like he looked like a vet out there. I mean, at some points towards the end of the season. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what year 2 of Jaden Hicks can be. But yes, to echo what you said about Justin Reed, we're gonna miss Justin Reed, a consummate pro, a true professional.
No question.
Yeah, a lot of Justin Reed love in the chat, guys. I like that. I'm glad you guys are being nice about Justin Reed. Usually when guys leave, people are always like, nah, we don't need him anyway. But I'm glad everyone's being respectful and being nice.
Well, you hear people all the time. He couldn't cover, he couldn't do all this. Man, I tell you what, we won Super Bowls with that man. Okay, and he came in, he made plays when we needed to make plays. He showed up when we needed for him to show up, and so. Every guy's not going to be, he ain't going to make every play. But I tell you what, he did a hell of a job while he was here. And that's the reason, he's part of the reason why we won the Super Bowl. It's because of his play. So.
Yeah. A short tackler, too. I know people always make fun of him falling down in coverage. But, man, when he had you squared up, that was a tackle, man. It was 100%.
Absolutely. Not only just have you in his sights, that Joe was going to obliterate you when he hit you, So, yeah, Jay Reed's a beast, and he locked down his position. He did enjoy running his mouth. Yeah. And Hannah was talking about him. I seen Hannah talking about him maybe on Monday or last week. It's like, what are we going to do with Justin Reed? I'm just like, oh, Hannah likes Justin Reed. I heard you talking about him, Hannah. So, sorry for you, but he's going to be in New Orleans. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. New Orleans could be the NFC Chiefs fans team. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Saints Chiefs Super Bowl. Be one giant Chiefs game. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.